Persons 1 through 4. The first 4 persons appear to each other in the cafe, and greet, and talk uncomfortably, and hug each other as if goodbye, and talk some more, and hug again, and the most uncomfortable one reassures one of the others, "We'll see each other again." From my table I translate, "I promise neither of us will die." Person 5. And the one who bobs her hips as soon as she comes in dancing, it seems. Her head, too. All of it bounces. She is all merriment in this moment of waiting to order. It is pure joy to be here in this cafe where contemporary funk music plays. I wouldn't have guessed anyone was still making music like this. I play a game with myself wherein I guess the year of production and the race of the bassist. Because this song has no lyrics, I can't look up who it is, and so I'll never know if I've won my game. I want to ask this woman for a ride home, if only to hear what music she listens to in the car. In the meantime, she has ordered an iced green tea. Persons 6 through 8. They are all looking somewhere. The same place. There's only one thing to look at here according to their behavior. Persons 6, 7, and 8 are not talking. I assume there is a menu where they are looking. It takes great focus. I do not look at them, not directly with my eyes or head. I let them look. I do not look. And we have not heard enough, if anything, about the female gaze. It is a small mercy I perform, allowing them this. Person 9. If I were not too a cafe person, I would not be writing this. I should not talk so much about myself if there were anybody else whom I knew so well. Or I should not talk so much about a cafe if there were any other place where I was sitting. But person 9 is not me. Person 9 is that adorable child in the corner. Who would think to bring their adorable child to a cafe? That is not a thing I would think to do. But then I have no such child. Person 10. This person is person 9's mother or guardian or companion. Person 9 cannot come to this cafe alone. Perhaps in 10 years he or she, it is impossible to say, will come here alone. I have been alive 10 years, 2.5 times, and I have nothing to say to person 9. Person 10 notices that I have started to cry. I have nothing to say to person 10. Persons 11 and 12. The last 2 persons are happy that Brick House just came on the radio. They take an unplanned but welcome break from what they were doing to giggle. They giggle so briefly. I am glad they came here together today. I am glad that Brick House was recorded and taken seriously. Super Freak, too. It's lucky, and not just for the recording artists who may or may not have passed away some years ago, but for us, too, in this cafe. Before persons 11 and 12 can get back to what they were doing, a waitress appears and asks what kind of dressing person 12 wanted on her salad. After I wrote that, I started to look up which members of these 2 bands were still living, and I was like, Hannah, that doesn't matter at all. Research. So I have one more thing to read. It's the most recent thing that I've written in the spirit of WIP. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to read, but I don't have it with me. Oh well. In the spirit of WIP, I will read something that's very much in progress. I wrote it 3 or 4, at most 5 days ago. A thing that I need to work on in this piece is figuring out how to get all of the information into it that needs to be in there, because right now I have to get this little spiel telling you some background information because not everyone is obsessed with Michigan football and basketball as I am. Which is fair, I guess. So if you have any ideas about that, feel free to let me know. But for now, I will tell you a few things. This thing that I wrote, which might be an essay. I don't know. It's about sports. It's about Joe Paterno recently dying. It's about Michigan basketball in the 1990s. I wrote an email summarizing some of this stuff, so I'm just going to read the email so I make sure I get all the things I need to get to. So, in the 1993 National... Do you guys know about the Fab Five?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Oh, I love this room. It's just full of love. Okay, so the Fab Five, for those of you who don't know, 5 freshmen were recruited the same year. It was 1991-1992's basketball season to Michigan. It was a coup de something French. So it was like this unbelievable thing that we got all 5 of these freshmen, and they started, and they were like revolutionized basketball. It was awesome. They made it to the national championship game 2 years in a row, lost it both years. In the 1993 national championship basketball game, Chris Webber of the Fab Five called a timeout with no timeouts remaining in the last seconds of the game. In college basketball, that's a technical foul, and so instead of having possession and a chance to tie or win the game, Michigan had to watch as UNC took 2 free throws and then get the ball back. It's what people remember Chris Webber for. That, and for being in the center of the most serious NCAA sanctions in the history of Michigan athletics for accepting tons of fucking cash over a number of years, starting when he was in high school, from this booster named Ed Martin, who was, in part, a really good guy, and in part, a destroyer of all things good. A really good guy who just, like, gave shoes to kids in Detroit, but that's an NCAA violation also. Anyway, two last things about this. I will quote Chris Webber and swear profusely at one point, so there are any kids in the room. And the second thing is, at one point, I'm going to lead a chant. You will know when it comes, because I will say, when I say Jopa, you say Turno, and then I'll say Jopa. Turno. Jopa. Turno. Great. You guys are pros. It's about 3/4 of the way in, so when that happens, you're almost done. Okay. Alright, so here's this thing. D is for dead, is for Joe Paterno is dead, is for legacy, is for what will be his legacy. I have been into tragedy before. Tragic death, tragic timeouts at the buzzer, tragic ends for sports. On Saturday, January 21st, 2012, I watched the number 19 Michigan basketball team lose to unranked Arkansas. I looked up when ESPN would next show the Fab Five documentary, Sunday, January 22nd, 2012, on ESPN Classic Channel 166. This is Chris Webber on Monday, April 5th, 1993. T is for legacy, is for it is his legacy. On Saturday, January 21st, 2012, I got home, and Joe Paterno is dead. I got home, Joe Paterno is dead, his family denied, reports not dead. N is for not dead, is for Joe Paterno is not dead, is not yet dead, is Google, Joe Paterno, about 575 million results, 0.53 seconds. Related searches, Joe Paterno died. Did Joe Paterno die? How are we supposed to feel? He is not yet dead, but will be dead. His family says it was a rogue tweet. A misinformed student tweeted. But still, yes, it is serious. It is close. On Sunday, January 22nd, 2012, in the NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers, Eli Manning called a timeout when he had no timeouts left. A delay of game was given because the clock expired, and so the New York Giants moved back 5 yards, but nothing else happened. Monday, January 23rd, 2012, first result, LA Times, news for Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno, should NCAA and selected schools honor his memory? Should we? There must be a reckoning, a recognition. A moving of material objects to a basement, or a storage locker, or maybe in 20 years we can acknowledge that something happened. A wreck. I am a wreck. Joe Paterno must have had a birthday since he was fired, because I remember him as 84. A tweet from the fake ESPN. Twitter killed Joe Paterno, but he decided to ignore that report too. There must be a reckoning. Not the boys flipping over cars in State College, nor the boys from the locker room. He was not Bin Laden and not John F. Kennedy. Not Etta James, who died too. Not a long time coming. Not leukemia, not dementia. Not at last. Not a retirement party. Not a word about scandal or the rape of many children over many years in GoPSUSports.com's write-up of Joe Paterno's life. Someone somewhere feels bad about Tuesday, November 8th, 2011, but that is not the thing we need to feel bad about. 409 wins over 46 years, he was just sitting in that box with a headset and a monitor by the end, and at one point at a practice, a player ran into him, and he fell over and he broke a bone, and the whole time Sandusky quiet under the surface, and so quickly Joe Paterno's firing, and then his cancer, and then his hip, and then his cancer, and then his death, and then his death. Joe Paterno died 9:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, January 22nd, 2012. I went to sleep to Joe Paterno not dead, to not yet dead. Went to sleep to serious condition. S is for serious. Woke up to Joe Paterno dead, definitely dead. D is for Joe Paterno is dead. Outpouring of grief at Penn State. The octogenarians who watched Penn State football at the Depot on Fort Lowell in Tucson, Arizona, I watched them and cheered with them in September and October and November 2011. I felt something for Penn State football, these men and their chants. I say Jopa, you say Turno. Jopa. Turno. Jopa. Turno. Octogenarians doing push-ups, one for every point scored. Ed Martin, too, must have timed his death. That was February 17th, 2003. 616 is the area code for Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it is also how many thousands of dollars Ed Martin gave to basketball players. How many push-ups? A reckoning. Tuesday, November 8th, 2011, Joe Paterno in the dark night to cell phone cameras outside his home in Happy Valley, quote, "It's a tough life when people do certain things to you." Monday, April 6, 1992, Chris Webber. Man, get those motherfucking cameras out of my face if you don't want to hear some goddamn swearing on the motherfucking TV.